and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we are talking about getting started.
I just cracked myself up because
before that,
before we okay, hold it together. Before we started recording, you commented that my mouse was making a sound. You didn't know what the sound was, but it was the sound of my mouse on my new mouse pad. So I put my mouse aside so that I wouldn't make that sound, and I was going to use the touchpad on my computer.
Right.
And then I was trying to move a window, our little studio window, from one monitor to the other, and it just couldn't get the cursor to work, and it was because I was just touching the mouse pad. I was just
You were using the mouse pad like a touchpad?
Yeah, I was just stroking it, and nothing was happening. And I just figured it out when you greeted me. Okay. This is the start of an excellent podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm thoroughly entertained.
Well, good. My work here is done.
Good. It's, not unlike the times that I've touched my computer screen by, trying to do things by touching my computer screen.
Which is not a touchscreen computer, right?
Correct.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, shall we get started?
I think so. Let's get started.
All right. Well, I'm not sure how we got the idea for this topic, but I think it's a good one. I think that this is something that people who are dealing with perfectionism come across all the time. Like, you just don't or you struggle to get started with something.
Right. I always talk about perfectionism being paralyzing. And
yes.
Yeah, this fits right into that.
Right. Because
Go ahead.
If you're paralyzed, you can't get started.
Exactly. I was just going to say maybe we can help people get unparalyzed.
Yes. Let's see what we can do about that.
Yes.
So, when I was thinking about this, there's sort of a couple of different things that come to mind that become blocks to getting started. And one of them is how you perceive the task or the project. And if you perceive it as being more than you can do, or really unpleasant, or just overwhelming in any way, then that's going to make it really hard to get started.
Absolutely. And I think that's very common in people with perfectionism, and also with people who aren't perfectionists. I mean, it's that feeling of something being too hard. It's like, I know I have to get past it before I can dive into something. Right.
And so that's a clue to one of the easiest ways to get started, which is to break whatever it is you have to do down into the tiniest of steps so that they're really doable.
Right. It's a great trick, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about really tiny steps, right?
Right. I have a series of blog posts in my archive that are called Happy Changes for whatever. And the idea is that when you want to make a change, that you start so small that you don't wake up the Chicken Little part of your brain. The sky is falling, this is horrible, we can't do this. And then you try to set yourself up for success, because then those tiny little successes are encouraging.
That's right. They build on each other and allow you to not only take the chicken little fear away, but actually keep moving forward after you've gotten started.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a really great approach.
Yeah, and it's something that is relatively easy to do. You don't have to think too much about it. I don't think you need a particular skill set. The main, I think the thing that makes this difficult for people is that there's this paradox of wanting to get it done and thinking that these baby steps aren't going to be enough to get to move you forward, to make progress. So they don't seem worth doing. But when you think about the whole thing, it's overwhelming and it's hard to get started, so you don't make progress.
Right. Yeah. Those two elements kind of push or pull against each other. Right. I hadn't thought of it that way. Like if you make the step so small that Chicken Little stays asleep, let's say it's doing laundry, and the step is to pick your sock up off the floor and put it in the laundry basket. That might feel like that's just one sock, and that's not going to do anything. But in fact, it gets the ball rolling.
Right. Right. And that's the key, is that you just start making that little bit of progress and allow that to be enough so that you can keep taking those tiny steps. Mm-hmm. And, that's what doing laundry is, repeating that step over and over again until it's done. It's not all just picking up socks off the floor, obviously.
Right.
But, because you do laundry, you have to do it sort of one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of small steps. If you think of each shirt that you're folding as a step, or each piece of laundry, it's a lot of steps, but just one after the other, and it gets done. I think about that all the time, because weirdly, but sometimes I actually do in the context of laundry, because sometimes the pile of laundry to be folded feels overwhelming, and I'm pretty vigilant about folding each load as it comes out of the dryer, but still it's just one load. But still, but I think as I'm folding it and watching the pile get smaller, that is just all I had to do is one step in front of the other, And it's like so many things, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. The thing I often do with laundry is I think of it not so much in items, but in time, like, oh, this is going to take forever. And so I'll think like, okay, I'll just do 15 minutes. And then, once 15 minutes done, I can stop. Mm-hmm. But, like if you're doing your laundry, like it takes far less than 15 minutes to sort your clothes, and then you might as well just throw it in, and then you don't have to do anything for 45 minutes or however long it takes.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. 15 minutes of folding laundry. It would be a lot of laundry to take 15 minutes. But you're right. It feels just like it's going to take forever. And it reminds me that I sometimes will use laundry as a timer itself, right? So I think, did I talk about this recently on a podcast episode where I do? It seems like I'm always doing laundry, but if I'm doing it during the workday, which I usually do on the weekends, but if I'm not, then I'll try to break my work tasks up that way, and so it gives me a break from work, and then some soothing folding of laundry while I listen to a podcast or something, or music.
Right.
So that also, what crossed my mind when you said that was using a timer that way to help you get started on anything. I think is a great idea. I suggest this to people all the time, and I do it myself, where I'll just do something I don't want to do for 5 minutes, and say it's weeding out my email if it's gotten out of control. All right, I'm just going to spend 5 minutes on this, and I set the timer, and I stop with the 5 minutes, and I've gotten so much done, even in just those little snippets of time. Sometimes I keep going, of course.
Right.
But the timer is so helpful.
Yeah, I sort of feel like you talked about, and maybe not in the podcast, but at some other point in the many years that we've known each other, about doing stuff while the microwave is going.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. I do. Yeah. I blogged about that. I'm sure I talked to you about it. If I'm cooking something in the microwave for 2 minutes, I'll go and spend 2 minutes putting stuff away, or filing papers or something like that.
Right. Right. Well, and so what do you think about sometimes the kinds of projects that people have difficulty getting started on are things that they really want to do, and they're either overwhelmed by it or they're not sure they can do it. Like, what do you think about those kind of projects and these techniques?
Well, I think if the problem is I don't know how to do it, then these techniques would work perfectly well if you break the task into the research involved in learning how to do it.
Right.
And so, little tiny tasks for that to get the research started, or a timer as well. Okay, sometimes it's hard. We talked about this in another episode where you can get into so much research when you're thinking about doing something or buying something. But you can set a timer and say, okay, I'm gonna research how to do this for 15 minutes, and then I'll stop at that point. And then it's not taking a big dent out of your day, and you can get started. I actually experienced this recently. I didn't tell you this, but when you were talking in one of our podcasts about learning Portuguese, I almost said Spanish. That's why it came out, Portuguese. Portuguese. I thought, that sounds like such a great thing to do for your brain, learn another language. And I thought, what language would I want to learn? And I thought, well, you know what? I really would think it would be fun to learn American Sign Language. And I don't have a use for American Sign Language right now. I don't know anybody who uses it, but it'd be fun to learn it, and maybe I could help other people with it by knowing it. And so I thought, I sure as heck don't know how to even go about learning to do American Sign Language or learning the language. So I spent 15 minutes or so Googling and found a resource that, one of these great resources that's free until you get hooked, and then you can start paying for it. So now I haven't taken action yet, but in terms of signing up or starting to take classes, but having just done enough research to know where I can go when I feel like I have the breathing space to do it, let it tickle my brain for a while. That's been really nice. I'm glad I took that first step.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's such a perfect example, because something like ASL seems so overwhelming. Like, I don't know anyone who knows it. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
But in the world of the internet, you can always find out.
I know. Well, and that reminds me of one thing that I do so you don't get into that mode of just researching and not doing anything, not taking action, is I will limit the number of sources. I will limit myself to a number of sources. So it'll be, for whatever reason, I look for like 2 or 3. If I find 2 or 3 things that look legitimate or I know to be legitimate, and I don't keep going, I figured that's good enough.
Yeah, that's smart, because you can research the heck out of things and never get actually started doing it, because you're still feeling like the research isn't sufficient. Certainly, I went through that with college papers, and probably my 10 years as a magazine writer. Although I was always procrastinating so much that I couldn't squeeze in more sources. I was always on deadline. But yeah, that's interesting. And one thing that just popped into my head was the technique described by Mark Forster, who is this time management guy that we talk about every now and then on the podcast, who has offered some great advice over the years. He talks about our having, it's like your Chicken Little thing. He talks about our having a reactive brain and a rational brain. And when there's something we don't want to do and having trouble getting started on, that's when our reactive brain makes it hard for us. And he says that you can trick your reactive brain to allow you to get started. So the example I always use, which is a real life example, is vacuuming, because I hate vacuuming. I rarely do it. I mean, because we have a cleaning lady. I do it if someone's coming over, because Bix always has made such a mess with his toys or whatever. But anyway, so I'll say, this is what you do, and I do this out loud. Say, I'm not going to vacuum. I'm just going to pull the vacuum cleaner out of the closet. And then then I pull it out, because that's not scary to my reactive brain. And then once I've done that, it's calmed down, and I just vacuum away. And it actually isn't so bad. I don't know why I hate it. I say I hate it so much. If I have to do the whole house, I hate it, because I hate vacuuming stairs. But if all I'm doing is like the living room and the dining room, it's not bad.
Well, and that's what just came to mind is both with this example and what we were talking about a minute ago is I think oftentimes what becomes so overwhelming and makes it difficult to start is the idea of having to finish. Having to finish?
I mean, having to do the whole thing.
Having to do the whole thing.
Right.
So, like, if you think you have to vacuum the whole house, you are not going to want to pull out that vacuum cleaner. But if you're thinking, oh, I just have to pull out the vacuum cleaner, and then you're like, I'm just going to do this one area, then it makes it so much easier. But, and also, like, if you're thinking about learning American Sign Language and you're thinking in the context of learning it, like, oh, I'm going to have to be able to use this to, translate for someone, that would be a little overwhelming and it would make it hard to get started.
Right. But if I say I just learn as much as I want or until it's no longer fun or,
right.
Yeah. Or in the case of vacuuming one room is so much better than vacuuming 0 rooms.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps it's not as good as vacuuming all rooms, but it's something that's always beneficial.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're never going to be like, God, I wish I didn't vacuum that one.
Exactly. Did I ever tell you that? I'm sure I did, because you were probably around when this happened. But years ago, I was having trouble coming up with a birthday present for Barry, and I think money was tight or something, and so I didn't want to spend a lot of money. And he said, "Don't get me anything. I don't need anything." And so I gave him the gift of vacuuming and dusting every week for a year until his next birthday. And I wrote it in a card, and he looked at it. He said, "Oh no, this is too much. I can't accept this." And but I did it, and as soon as his birthday rolled around the next year, I stopped because I hated it. But I did do it every week because I said I would.
Wow.
Yeah, but I loved his reaction to it. That's what cracked me up. He knew it was a big gift. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, that's too much.
Too much.
Yeah. I was just thinking about another technique that I've used a lot with clients, and this has to do with things that feel overwhelming and not necessarily pleasant, like, say your to-do list or something. But when you think about it, most people imagine it as something really big and often sort of looming over them. Mm-hmm. And if you could imagine that you could hold it in your hand.
It being the project or the task?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Even even however your mind sort of represents what it is that you want or need to be doing, if you could imagine shrinking it down and holding it in your hand.
Makes it less scary. I can feel it right now. Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so just that is because, none of these things we've talked about are objectively particularly scary or even awful. I mean, they're not necessarily fun, but they're not dangerous. They're not, there's not anything really bad likely to happen to you, but they trigger that reptilian brain or that chicken little or the reactive brain that you're saying, that as Mark Forster calls it. And when you're in that mode, everything feels like survival. Mm-hmm. And so, all of these different ways we're talking about to to make something feel doable enough that it doesn't trigger you into that place.
Right. And I'm thinking that keeping your eye on the prize, or knowing why you want to do this thing. So for the ASL project, or learning ASL, I kind of want to do it because I think it would be really cool to know ASL. But I also want to do it because I'm 56 and I'm constantly worried about my brain deteriorating. So I'm always looking to learn new things to keep my brain nimble. And it seems like this would be an example of that.
Right.
Learning ASL, or learning how to knit a different way, or learning all sorts of things.
Yeah, well, and I think that's one of the things that is, it keeps me interested in Portuguese, and it's so fascinating. I was thinking about this when we were talking about, like, you pick up one sock and then you just start there. Like, I really don't spend more than 5 minutes a day on the Portuguese. Mm-hmm. And one of the apps I use they have a speed review periodically, and it will show you a word, and then you have to choose out of 6 possibilities what that word means. Mm-hmm. And you get up to 3 mistakes. Like, if you make 3 mistakes, then you are done with the speed review. Mm-hmm. And I did it last night, and it's like I knew 130 words in Portuguese.
Wow, that's excellent. Working on it 5 minutes a day.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's like periodically I'll have this feeling like, they also have like a video of a person saying something, and I will totally understand what they say, and I'll have this thought like, oh my God, I totally understood that. That is so weird
that's great.
Like, it's taking really no effort other than just to remember to do it, and when I forget, getting back on it. Mm-hmm. And just doing that 5 minutes a day and getting started with it. But if I set out to say, like, and I don't even know how long I've been doing this, but if I thought I have to learn 130 words in Portuguese, that's like too overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Too scary to get started because you might fail.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's just great. That put a big smile on my face. I mean, that just speaks to so many different things that we talk about. But that, doing small effort repeatedly, and that you don't have to do it all at once. And
right.
That's great. That's really, now I want to see if there's an app to learn ASL.
I'm sure there is. Right. Yeah, there's got to be.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, it's a really good experience, and it helps. I can sort of take that information that I've gained from this experience and use it to remind myself in other experiences that, this small amount will count. It will matter over time. It's totally doable. I will at some point be surprised with how much progress I've made mm-hmm. if I just, get started and keep going.
Yes. And restart if you stop, just like in our recent
Back on Track.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That is a great lesson. And while I haven't experienced it with learning a new language, I think just having heard you describe it is going to help me in my future endeavors. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. That makes me happy.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. Yeah, with the getting started thing, it really does seem to be figuring out how to make it feel doable to you.
Right. Is this different from procrastination?
That's Funny you should say that. I was just thinking about that. I think it is really similar to procrastination because, I mean, that's the point of procrastinating is that you're not wanting to get started.
Right. But somehow there's some slight distinction to me. Because I think maybe if you have barriers to getting started that you can get past, then maybe it's easier to keep going. Whereas sometimes with procrastination, it's not just getting started, it's doing it all. Keeping going as well.
Right.
Although I might be making that up.
Well, I mean, I wonder if that has to do with the idea that that maybe you're procrastinating on things that you don't want to do that are unpleasant. Mm-hmm. And you are putting off getting started on things that you want to do but seem overwhelming.
Oh, wow. You're a smart cookie. That makes a lot of sense. I was not there, and I was not getting there in my head. So that makes sense. Interesting.
Well, and as I recall, your productivity block from the quiz that I have on my website is your perception of how enjoyable it will be.
Yes.
Is enjoyment. So that would make sense that you would feel it's procrastinating if it's something that you don't anticipate enjoying. Mm-hmm. And it would feel like you just need to get started if it's something that you think you will enjoy, but you aren't sure how to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm going to put a link to your quiz on the show notes for this in case people haven't taken it, because to me it's so enlightening to figure out what you call it a productivity block. Is that what it's called? Yeah. What your barriers are to getting started or on things, which is essentially what that quiz is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. So that's a way to get more specific information about the ways in which each person finds it difficult to get started, like the things that tend to cause you to procrastinate. Mm-hmm. It'll give you a little bit more tailored information.
It's a great free tool.
Yeah, it is free.
Yeah.
And I've been working on sort of follow-up emails with additional information and ways to practice and experiment with the concepts to help people do even more. So that'll be coming real soon too.
Oh, great. We'll have to talk about it when it's up and running.
Yeah. So I feel like you said, the getting started thing, and it's interesting to bring up that idea of that getting started seems to be more about things you want to do, but are feeling overwhelmed by or uncertain about.
Although certainly many people have trouble getting started on their taxes, I think. And virtually nobody wants to do their taxes. I guess if they have a big fat refund coming, maybe they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had a big refund, and I still didn't really want to get started on them, but I did it anyway.
Oh, right.
But and that's a good point. Is that sometimes, and I think people get frustrated by this, that even if there's a big payoff, in my case in taxes, there was a literal big payoff in doing them, it's still hard to get started because that payoff is so far away, and it doesn't seem real enough or big enough or compelling enough to get you over these little blocks to begin with.
Yeah, human nature is interesting, isn't it?
It is. Well, and I was just listening to a podcast the other day that was talking about this from sort of an evolutionary biology standpoint. And when you have a negative experience, the chemicals and hormones that flood your system are like 5 times more intense than the positive chemicals or hormones that flood your system when you have a good experience.
Oh boy.
Well, so we're really fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, but you can imagine, like, from a survival standpoint, why that would be. Like, if, you eat something and it makes you sick, you want to be darn sure that you're never going to eat that thing again.
Even if it tastes really good.
Right.
Yeah, I see.
But, if you do something and you get sort of a nice feeling from it, that's not necessarily going to keep you alive. Mm-hmm. So it's far less intense. The experience is far less intense, chemically in your body.
Right. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So that's why, like, one negative experience with vacuuming can make you not want to vacuum for the rest of your life. I don't know that you had a negative experience with vacuuming, but, it takes a lot of little experiences, positive experiences, to make it okay.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, now I'm busy trying to think of a negative vacuuming experience. I'm pretty sure I haven't had one. You might be able to hypnotize me, though, and bring one out.
Yeah, if we ever felt compelled to do that. The root cause of your
hatred of vacuuming.
Aversion to vacuuming.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but I think that's the key, though, to getting started is you do want to understand why it matters to you, why you're doing this anyway, and keeping that sort of front of mind will help. Often, though, that's not going to be enough, that you also have to break it down into these small steps and shift your perception of the task or project in such a way that it feels doable.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to go get started on something. Right.
Well, let's finish this and then we can get started on something else.
Right.
All right. Well, what about you? Is there something that you want to get started on and you're struggling with? Do you have little tips that you would like to share on how you get started with things? You can leave us a voicemail at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. Or you can head over to our website at gettingtogoodenough.com and comment on the show notes or click through on any of our social media profiles and leave a comment there. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. What are you going to get started on?
Recording another podcast with you episode.
Perfect.